So welcome to our fifth session of Live Like You're Dying. I'd like to thank everyone for participating in the small groups. I know they've been meaningful experiences and people have had good conversations about the meanings of life and their priorities that they're living with, and maybe how things might change for them to have a little more perspective on what would you do if you only found out that you had only 30 days left to live. So because of this theme that we've been on during Lent, a member of our congregation, I'll introduce you to, his name is Tim Scott, has come forward to share with us a story about his family and his dad and their own 30-day experience, and what a great gift and a great graceful moment it has been for him and his family to be able to reflect on the meaning of his life, the meaning of his faith, and his relationship with his father.
I've got a very close family. I've got my wife and 3 kids, and we have a very close relationship with my mother and my father. Anytime we ever go anywhere or do anything, go on any type of vacation, we've always gone typically with them. They've got a place in Minnesota that we'll go in the summer, spend weekends, spend 4th of July. In the winter when it gets cold, we'll go to Arizona where their other house is, and we'll spend spring break, Christmas, Easter, whichever holiday we get the chance to get down there to see them. And last year, over Father's Day weekend when we were up in Minnesota, my father was having this balance issue. His balance was off, and he was really struggling just with his balance. He went and saw his doctor, and his doctor said, you know, everything's fine. I don't see anything wrong with you. Maybe you should go check yourself out with a neurologist and see what he says. And my father is a very avid golfer, and he checked with his neurologist, and he could get him in September. Well, my father didn't want to wait 3 months to figure out what's wrong, because he had a lot of golf games and a lot of money on the line, you know, the $1 and $2 bets, where he didn't want to miss out on that. And so he went to the Mayo Clinic with my mother at the end of July, and went through a bunch of different tests, tried to figure out what's wrong, and the doctors couldn't figure out what's wrong with him. Did head CTs and all kinds of different things. Found a spot on his brain, didn't know what it was, whether it was cancer or not, so they did body scans, did a spinal tap, and come to find out he had this disease called CJD disease. It is a disease that is non-curable. There's no cause, no cure, and no treatment. And when we, started looking at it and looking at how long he had to live, or whatever the case may be, I mean, what can we do? We all jumped to our guns to try to figure out what we could do, and found out there was nothing we could do. And in the research that we had done, we had found that some people live a year, some people live a few weeks, most live 6 months. And it was August 2nd, and we were up there with them, and we were obviously crying and struggling with this knowledge. Some people had asked, is it curable? Is there anything you could do? And there wasn't. And we immediately set out, do you want to do the bucket list? Let's get a bucket list together. Let's find all these things that you want to do, and let's do them, and we'll do them all together. And he really had no desire to do a bucket list. It wasn't a depressed state. He was very calm with himself, and religious, yes. Very religious, not really. He went to church every week, believed in God greatly, and was very calm with what was happening to him. And we went up and saw him every couple of weeks, and every couple of weeks, his disease, just continued to get worse and worse and worse. And as we would struggle with what was happening to him, he didn't. He was very at peace with himself, very calm with himself. And rather than going and doing the materialistic things, rather than going through the bucket list type things, he really wanted to be around friends and family. That was his whole goal. His whole life was his friends and his family. And I would call up there on any given day at any given hour, and there was always somebody there. It was somebody either bringing food or somebody just sharing their time with them. And when we would go up there, that would just continue on. And it was odd to me that somebody could be that at peace with himself and with his relationships, and he never once complained about the disease he had, or its progression, or how he drew the short straw. He was okay with it, and he passed away November 2nd, and it was 3 months from when he found out that he had it to when he died, was 3 months. And I know that in talking with my uncle had said that he really taught us how to die with grace, how to die with dignity, how to die without having that feeling of emptiness or despair. And when I look back at what had happened and how he had lived out his life, I don't look at it as how he taught us how to die, but I think he taught us how to live, and how to live with that grace, how to live for the moment. When I started to hear Pastor David speak about the 30 days and started his series on the 30 days, I said, I've got something to share, because I've lived this event. It's living within the moment, which I had the chance to do with my father. Saying the sweet things that you'd like to say. I spent 90 days telling my father how much I loved him. And what ultimately I'd like to see people get out of this is that they need to live for today. They need to live in the day. They need to hug their kids, hug their wife or husband, and tell them that they love them. Because you never know. You could be in my opinion, the unfortunate one that dies in a car accident. That you always have the shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I tried in the 90 days that I had with my father to not have those regrets of living in the shoulda, woulda, coulda. It was an amazing experience. It was an amazing experience to be around him like that. I don't think I've ever been as close to my father as I was at that time.